You're out with your friends on a warm, sticky summer night in the Louisiana swamps. It's 10:30, but you're having a good time. Who cares if your curfew was almost 2 hours ago? The night is beautiful, the stars are out, the frogs are chirping and singing in the swamp, and every so often you catch the shine of alligator eyes in the swamp itself. It's a nice night. You and your friends go quiet for a few moments while your friend walks back to their truck to get some more of those ill-gotten beers that you stole from your father. The sound of a twig snapping breaks your reverie. Expecting to see your friend coming back to you with the beer, you turn around and instead you see a looming wolf-like beast with blood down its front. It lets out a howl as you and your friends scatter off into the forest, cursing that you stayed out too late. The Rougarou is coming for you. Hi, I'm Jax, and this is Morbidly Macabre, the channel where I talk about morbid history, the origin of horror story tropes, and other spooky topics that might catch my interest. Today we're talking about the Rougarou, a Cajun cryptid that used to scare me as a child, thanks to my dad. If you like what you see, please consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button, as all of my subscribers help my channel grow. I stream over on Twitch at JaxMarieGaming 5 to 6 days a week, and I post a new Morbidly Macabre every Friday. I'm also over on TikTok at JustJaxMarie. Now, let's get back into the Rougarou. The Loup-garou, French werewolf, is a commonly known creature in Cajun culture. I myself am Cajun, so I will sometimes refer to Cajuns as us or we. It's because I am Cajun. My family is from the certain part of Louisiana where the Rougarou is a commonly used cryptid to scare children. My father used to use it to scare me into behaving. It wasn't, oh, be good or you're going to be on Santa's naughty list. It was, be good or a werewolf is going to come eat you. When the Acadians were exiled from France to Nova Scotia, we brought with us the tales of the Loup-garou, spelled L-O-U-P, space G-A-R-O-U. The Loup-garou, translated to English, is werewolf. Loup, L-O-U-P, meaning wolf, and garou, G-A-R-O-U-L, meaning person who can be a wolf. It originated in the 16th century French folklore, and crimes were often pinned on these mythical creatures. If a child went missing, he wasn't kidnapped. The Loup-garou got him. If a house was ransacked, it must have been the Loup-garou. Somebody didn't come in to steal my stuff. It had to be a werewolf. Given the time, belief in these creatures was so strong that people actually believed that their neighbors could be a Loup-garou in disguise. People were arrested, people were tried, some people were even killed for the belief that they were the Loup-garou, and I'll have a story about that later in today's video. Since Cajun French is a mixture of French and English, and it's very well known for changing words to actually be easier to say, they did change the Loup-garou, which is a little bit difficult to say, to Rougarou. And there's a couple of different spellings that will be on the screen right now. When the Cajuns went through Nova Scotia, they also left behind their belief in the Rougarou. When they arrived in Louisiana, the legend developed. If you're Catholic and you break Lent, the Rougarou is going to come get you. If you were a child and out past curfew or did anything bad, suddenly, Rougarou. The Rougarou was used to instill obedience in children and also adherence to the Catholic religion. In fact, one of the beliefs in how someone becomes a Rougarou is by not observing Lent for 7 years in a row. If that was true, I would definitely be a Rougarou by now. Another way to become a Rougarou is if someone casts a spell on you. If a spell is cast on you, you'll be a Rougarou for 101 days, and then it'll be passed on to somebody else if you drew their blood. So if I was a Rougarou and I attack Andy McAnderson and I draw Andy's blood, Andy will then become the Rougarou. Sometimes people become a Rougarou by choice, but most of the time it is an involuntary curse that makes people into the Rougarou. Back when it was still the Loup-garou, the belief was that this curse was genetic and it couldn't be transferred by bite, only through bloodline. An event would trigger this curse and the person would then get a craving for raw meat and blood. The Loup-garou wasn't just a French thing, though. Back when I first started getting into true crime and podcasts, I listened to a podcast talking about the story of Peter Stump, a German man who was accused of being a werewolf in 1589. He supposedly made a deal with the devil when he was 12 years old and became a Rougarou with insatiable bloodlust. He would eat goats, lambs, sheep, and eventually women and children. He confessed to eating 14 children and 2 pregnant women. One of the children he ate was allegedly his own son. He was accused of being a serial murderer, cannibal, and had intercourse with the succubus, even incest, and he was then sentenced to death. He, his daughter, and his mistress were sentenced to being flayed and killed. I'll link the podcast in the description box below. It's a good podcast called Lore by Aaron Mankey. Now, suppose you were being hunted by the Rougarou. How do you defend yourself? It's weak to fire. You can always defend yourself with fire, or you could put 13 small objects on the ground near the entrances to your safe space. By lore, the Rougarou is very bad at counting and will get so confused by the 13 items that it keeps counting the 13 over and over again until the sun comes up and the Rougarou starts to go back to its human form and runs away. While fire is definitely what is better for fighting against it, I think putting the 13 items by the doorways is a little bit funnier and would definitely be how I fought against the Rougarou myself. There's also the traditional garlic on the wall, circle of salt, crosses, but let's be honest, confusing it with small objects is way funnier. Now in pop culture, the Loup-garou and Rougarou is very prevalent, especially in Louisiana. Louisiana is beginning to embrace the Rougarou more in their festivals and celebrations. There's costumes, decoration, performances, and the continuance of an oral tradition that was being threatened to die off. It's been on Supernatural, the TV show featuring the Winchester brothers. It's been in Harry Potter as the wand cord of someone's wand. There's even a conservation article on the National Wildlife Foundation's website that talks about the disappearance of the swamps. It says saving the swamp, but beware the Rougarou. And I will have that linked below as well because it has some really good information about our swamps. The Loup-garou is also a monster that your players can fight in Dungeons & Dragons. I have used it a few times and my players don't like it, but I think it's great. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me as we talk about the Rougarou. If you really liked today's video, please consider hitting that like button or that subscribe button, and definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below if you have any topic suggestions. I do stream over on Twitch one more time at JaxMarieGaming 5 to 6 days a week, and I just started posting more on my TikTok at JustJaxMarie. Please consider checking those both out. So behave or the Rougarou will get you, and above all, stay curious. Goodbye.